He takes us through experience to develop sensitivity and awareness that is to be revealed over time. What you went through last year and how you handled it last year, God said from that time to this time, there should have been some kind of change. You can't possibly say you're growing in God, but still handle situations as if you're still 10 years old. God here now moves us and he reveals himself to us over time. And here what he does is he brings us to a place to understand that I have to endure this moment of hardship in order to see the strength being provided through the manifestation of my assignment. What does that mean? Everybody in the body of Christ is on assignment. What is that, Bishop? Everybody in the body of Christ is called of God. God's got you doing this. God's got you doing that. But the moment a real good wind blows, you can handle nothing. Here, he provides us the ability to see him and not us in an assignment. What he does here is that God takes us through this so that a change of who we used to be can take place. We would have never arrived at the place that we are right now had it not been for the experience that God involved us in for an ordained season. Nothing just happens. God always plans with perfection. No matter what you have experienced, no matter what you have dealt with, God always has his hand on the wheel. I need somebody in here that understands what I'm talking about to give him a real good praise. Here now, as we arrive at our text, we find that Paul is coming out of a specific situation. His assignment here has brought him to a place that he would have never arrived had it not been for the storm. Just look at your neighbor right quick and say, storms will bless you. I don't care how you look at them, storms will bless you. And if you're ever going to be anything in God and you have not experienced one yet, a storm is coming your way. And it's not going to be just little drizzles, but it's going to be a violent storm. When we talk about violent storms, it is a heavy disturbance pattern that alters the norm of your life. And God uses storms to push us in the path of our destiny and in the course of our specific assignments. Bishop, this is why I got a problem with those who think God has called them and they're going to tiptoe through the tulips. Kool-Aid coming out your faucet, eating peanuts, popcorn, and candy, thinking that nothing is going to take place in your life. The devil is a liar. If God is going to take you to the next level, you got to have a storm. Touch about 3 people around you and say, before you get there, it's going to get windy. Before you get there, it's going to get stormy, 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 stormy. Paul is now coming out of a situation that pushed him into the next level of his assignment. Here now, a storm, God uses it to get us where we need to be. And most of the time, we complain about the intensity of the storm. Tell your neighbor, don't mess around and push away your help. Because some pain is purposeful. There is some pain that I must endure if I'm going to be everything he needs me to be. This is why when you mature in God, you'll say, God, do what you've got to do. I'm not concerned about the other side. Prepare me to receive my blessing. If you believe it, clap your hands and give him a real good shout of praise. Tell somebody, the storm was painful, and you may not have agreed with it, but it's good and necessary. God designs things so that our life can be consistent with his schedule. Some of us are so out of whack, and we think we know what we need in order for the all-knowing, all-powerful God to get us there. But there's nothing like some good old trouble to back you up in a corner and remind you that God is still in control of this assignment. You can know that you're called. You can know that you're anointed. But sometimes the storm will cause you to say, really, God? Like this? I've got a few people that you can knock over with this. I can help you find them if you're having difficulty. But this, right now, this way, look at your neighbor and say, God does his best work when all your haters are attentive. And at the same time, he's killing every bit of pride that may exist inside of you, because pride and the assignment cannot work together. Oh, I feel him here. The storm will push us into our identity. Because seldomly we really don't know who we are until we've been squeezed just right. The storm brings us to a place of pushing us into our promise after the enemy thought we would die. This makes sense when you understand what happened in chapter 27. Because some of us can understand that I've got a storm and it feels intense and I've got people counting me out. But what you didn't count in was that I had a promise before I went into the storm. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, tell all your critics that before they start talking, that God already promised you that this storm was not going to kill you. Tell somebody it's not going to kill me. I know they wanted to take me out, but it's not going to kill me. Let me give you some Bible for that. Acts 27, 20 through 26. Paul begins to speak. And he says, and now I exalt you to be of good cheer. Touch your neighbor, say, get your praise back. For there shall be no loss of any man's life among you. The only thing that's going down is this ship. Look at your neighbor and say, they thought I was going down, but I'm just getting started. I'm just Bishop, you know what really blessed me? When people are trying to take you out or want to see a storm take you out, they are functioning from their flesh, so they can't interpret spiritual things. Paul says to them, look what he says. He says, for there stood by me this night the angel of God, whose I am and who I serve. What you must understand is, when it gets hot, you still got backup. Because God has to send angels to make sure that his word is successful. Tell your neighbor, they'll ride in on a surfboard just to make sure you don't go down. Tell about 3 people, I'm not going down. I'm not going down because I got backup. I'm not going under because I got backup. I'm not going to be messed up because I got backup. Somebody open your mouth and say, back up. I just felt something break. Somebody shout, back up. Look, the storm must come. The storm must take place. Look what Paul says here. For everyone that's saying, use me, Lord. Have thine own way. Make me and know me. For all of you that's saying that, Paul says the storm got to take place. You're not going to die. And the last thing he says in verse 26, howbeit you must be cast upon this certain island. Touch your neighbor and say, there's a certain place you must get. That's why this trouble